पीटीए में आधी-भादी के रूप में शामिल हर स्त्री का सम्मान और समृद्धि हमारा संकल्प है। सशक्तिकरण यदि सामाजिक रूप से समानता देकर स्त्री को सशक्त करना है तो सबलीकरण आर्थिक रूप से स्त्री को आत्मनिर्भर बनाने का प्रयास होता है।
Meanwhile, Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has launched a scheme to provide free bus travel to elderly women in Uttar Pradesh.
जन्म से लेकर के उसकी शिक्षा तक, बेटी की शिक्षा से लेकर के उसके रोजगार तक, बेटी के रोजगार से लेकर के उसकी उद्यमिता तक और जीवन के हर पड़ाव पर सुरक्षा, नारी की सम्मान और नारी के स्वावलंबन का की गारंटी। यानी हमारी हर योजना, सरकार का हर निर्णय, सरकार का हर बजट इन्हीं उद्देश्यों की पूर्ति करने के लिए समर्पित है।
UP has more than 6 crore registered women voters, making up 45.46% of the total electorate. And the 2022 Assembly election showed just how decisive this vote can be. According to Lok Niti post-poll survey, the BJP had 13 percentage point advantage over the SP alliance among women voters. Among men, the BJP's advantage was only 5 percentage points. The BJP's lead was particularly significant among young women. Among women aged 18 to 25, BJP's lead over SP was 15 percentage points. Among women aged 56 and above, the gap increased to 18 percentage points. So if the SP wants to seriously challenge the BJP in 2027, winning over women voters will be critical. And that brings us to another interesting finding from the latest opinion survey, which is Vote Vibe. Among voters aged 18 to 24, Akhilesh Yadav leads Yogi Adityanath as the preferred chief minister. 44.2% prefer Akhilesh compared to 38.2% for Yogi. And the alliance numbers reinforce that trend. Among 18 to 24-year-olds, the SP alliance leads the BJP alliance, 45.5% to 36.4%. So what is driving this youth preference? The bigger concerns. For the voters aged 18 to 24, unemployment is the top concern at 30.1%. Among 25 to 34 years old, it remains the biggest concern at 26.9%. And this concern appears to be reflected in the satisfaction with the government. 50.1% of the 18 to 24-year-olds are dissatisfied with the state government. So among young voters, we see a combination of job concerns, dissatisfaction, greater support for Akhilesh and SP alliance. But the story changes dramatically when we look at the older voters. Among older voters, 60.1% are completely satisfied with the government and 64.6% favor Yogi Adityanath. Their priorities are also different. Older voters are more focused on inflation, law and order and farmers issue. Unemployment ranks lower among their concerns, and then comes the social group equation. Among upper caste Hindus, the BJP alliance leads at 67.3 with 71.2% preferring Yogi. Among Muslim voters, the SP alliance leads at 63% with 53% backing Akhilesh Yadav. The OBC contest is much closer, 44.5% for the BJP alliance against 40.5% for the SP alliance. And within the OBC category, Yadav OBC leans towards SP, while non-Yadav OBC leans towards BJP. Among SC and Dalit voters, the BJP alliance leads at 40%, followed by SP at 34.1% and BSP at 21%, roughly 20.1%. So what is the big picture? The BJP may still have the broader advantage, but the political battle is becoming layered and tighter. And the issue is, can Yogi retain the older voters, BJP's social coalition, while holding on to women and winning back a younger generation increasingly focused on job change? That is the moot or the crux of our conversation. On this issue, I am joined by Amitabh Tiwari, psephologist, political analyst, Sunita Aaron, senior journalist, Dr. Anil Verma, author, writer, academician and psephologist, and Ajay Bose, senior journalist and a very noted author. Let me start with Mr. Bose first. Mr. Bose, gender is also a very layered reality. It's a lived reality. So even in America, gender can be divided on race. Do you think that since the elections are now around the corner, this entire focus on women can get more oxygen and momentum, a sort of a layering over the Gen Z issue which was deciding things in the public narrative? 30 days back or 40 days back, sir?
Well, I think that if you look at the woman voter, there are certain common points, obviously, with the male voter. And also the age factor is a very important thing, because I think young women and old women vote differently. But certainly this time, I'm expecting younger voters to play a more decisive role, and grassroots issues which women usually are more concerned about to really, dominate all elections from now on. And this, the Cockroach Janata Party's protests and its aftermath has certainly brought to the fore. So we are going to see from now on elections, whether in Uttar Pradesh or elsewhere. I think bread and butter issues will become very, very important.
Okay.
And these crumbs from the table, which, all political parties are very keen to give just before elections, I think people will really see this as really a sop. Certain things like reservation in the police is an excellent idea, I think, because I think women's safety is such a major issue that 33% of reservation among of women in the UP police is an excellent idea. But this 40,000 rupees or free travel or something, I think they are more like crumbs from the table. But certainly I think women will play a very important role, and young women particularly, who are now getting increasingly aspirational and ambitious.
Okay, I really don't want this conversation, and that is why I didn't start on that note, whether it is affirmative action or whether it is Revdi or Labharti politics. Sunita, what I really want to know is, every political party makes promise to women as a solid constituency, but women choose a political party. Like Madhya Pradesh or, for example, Maharashtra, political parties make promise to women, but they chose Ladki Behna. So there is something more than the promise. What is that more than the promise which makes them choose one party over and above the other party? Like both of them made very big promises, Akhilesh and Yogi, but suppose they choose Yogi over Akhilesh, then why? Or if they choose Akhilesh over Yogi, why? Promises are similar.
One thing is very clear, that now women is voting independent of the family's decision. So, and it is a very important vote to decide to tilt the balance. Now, why they decide a particular party? So earlier it was Temple, earlier it was Sanatan, earlier it was to some extent the divisive politics that was being promoted, that women, and even today, if you look at it, when you talk about senior women preferring Yogi and his saffron, it's because of Temple and their feelings, and plus the direct transfers that have been done in the past, and they are hoping that they'll get it again. Now, what is advantage or disadvantage Akhilesh? Advantage is the battery of women, young women leaders that he has. All of a sudden, if you see that Dimple has been very active, Ikra Hassan, you have a whole lot of them who were present at his press conference today. And not always Dimple is addressing a press conference along with Akhilesh Yadav. So he's trying to blunt this particular propaganda or whatever people perception that Samajwadi Party is unable to control the law and order situation when they come to power. So right now the advantage Akhilesh is the women force that he has, and I'm very sure they're going to play a very, very active role in the coming elections. It seems that's the message that I'm getting, which the BJP as of now doesn't have. They have now Smriti Irani will be going around, but she is not a fresh face like all these girls. So that is it. But definitely it is going to be a very, very tight contest in which women will tilt the balance this way or that way.
Okay. Dr. Verma, she said that women vote for many things, but Sunita didn't mention law and order. Law and order. Do you think that law and order is not important in the scheme of things?
Karthikeya, one thing we have to understand that women have always been a very important factor. The only thing is that of late, the division on the basis of caste has been replaced by division on the basis of class. This is a very important shift in the voting behavior of the gender in not only in Uttar Pradesh but all over the country. That we have already been talking about the dominance and influence of caste in voting behavior. But of late, we can see that there is a transition from caste to class, and each and every political party is now focusing on the gender. That is one thing. So there is a tremendous mobilization of the gender, whether this way or that way, there is a mobilization, and women are getting more and more conscious. That is one. The second thing is that you put a very important question: why they choose one party over the other when both the parties are offering sops and lollipops? So to me, it appears that a bird in hand is better than two in bush. So most of the women are not only concerned about their safety, but they are also and we have to trust their rationality. They might seem ordinary, but they have a rational wisdom. And that wisdom is that most of the women are not forgetful of the performance or the regime of the previous governments, whether it be Mayawati's government is always credited with a very good law and order situation, though it's faulted for many other things. Akhilesh government or Samajwadi government, they have a very track record of, creating optics in the minds of the people all over that it is a people who are, not very congenial to the safety of the woman. And there are so many records about that. Everybody knows about that. So I think when you said that why women will choose one party over the other,
yes,
it is not only a gender mobilization and offering sops, but it also a consideration of the previous track records of the various political parties, including the BJP, of course, and there would be they would be weighing the advantages and disadvantages of a particular regime of a political party, why one party should be favored and not the other party.
Okay.
So this is my understanding.
Okay, Amitabh, is it also because of the fact, that women vote share is higher for Bharatiya Janata Party? And I was, the data which you shared, very important point it makes. Even for BSP, the women, vote in higher numbers. And for Samajwadi Party, it is in the lower number. For Indian National Congress, it's the equal, but it does make a difference. But the fact is, women vote for BJP in higher numbers for BJP and BSP. So it's really important for them to consolidate. And it is important for Akhilesh to go there where, he's really lagging behind.
Yeah, so even the Lokniti numbers you shared, 13% higher vote or support for women, for BJP amongst women. So that means it translates into a vote share of 6.5%. So, and amongst men, it is only 5%, which means that it translates into a vote share lead of 2.5%. So bulk of the lead of around 8 to 9% in 2022 Vidhan Sabha election came from women. They also recorded a higher turnout than men. So what is happening actually in the northern states, the comparatively poorer states, because the per capita income is still just 1,26,000, which is just 10,000 rupees per month, is that due to migration, the women, even in poor families, suddenly have become the masters of the house. They are actually running the house, and they are controlling or have become an anchor of the voting preferences of other sections. That's number one. Number two, the turnout is higher again because men are living outside in Delhi, Mumbai, and some of them may not be coming back to vote for. So the turnout has also increased. Their role in the society has increased because the males are outside. Now, why do they choose one political party over the other? Again, I mean, a woman also has many identities. Of course, the primary identity is gender, but there is religion, caste, education status, socio-economic status, literacy, etc., etc. But what is happening because of the relatively poor condition of northern states like Uttar Pradesh is that they are voting more and more on the basis of their beneficiary status. So when we talk about a 40,000 or a 50,000, whatever that number is still 3 to 4,000 rupees per month. 3 to 4,000 rupees per month on a per capita income of 10,000 is 30-40% of what the per capita income is. So that's a huge amount, and that also in a way is significantly impacting the voting behavior of the women. Of course, law and order is one part wherein an improved law and order, which Yogi Adityanath has created an image of an improved law and order in the state, and the numbers also specify that. So that also benefited the BJP in 2017-22. But when both the parties are giving or announcing cash rolls, as sir mentioned, Verma sir mentioned, see, cash received today is much more valuable than cash which will be received in the future, because future is always uncertain, risky. You don't know whether that will be received or not. One. Secondly, but there is an important distinction here. Existing schemes would not work. So even when Mamata Banerjee increased the cash income support, she lost. Even when DMK transferred 5,000 rupees to women just 2 months before the elections, it did not work because it was part of an existing scheme. Whereas in Bihar, when 10,000 rupees was given, in Assam, when I think 8,000 rupees was given as one-time help, those were newer schemes. So that's also an important distinction. Always the cash doles do not work. Cash doles are working when something new is being offered. An increase of dole of an existing dole is perhaps not really enticing voters, as we've seen even in Andhra, even in Telangana. There are a lot of cash was distributed to women, but there was no significant new scheme which came into the fore.
Okay. Let me go across to Mr. Bose. Going by this data, why was BJP able to capitalize on women voter after Mayawati? Why wasn't Samajwadi Party able to do it? I really don't want to use the stereotype, stereotypes used in politics. Rowdy हैं, थोड़ा male led है, उनकी समाजवादी पार्टी थोड़ा राउडी किस्म का पॉलिटिक्स करता है. आई डोंट वांट टू यूज दोस वर्ड्स, बट द फैक्ट इज दैट द वुमेन वोटेड फॉर मायावती एंड देन द एंटायर trend shifted to BJP. Why didn't it go to Samajwadi Party, sir?
Now, that is a very important factor of Akhilesh Yadav's regime at that time. That there was a lot of law and order problems. And Akhilesh himself wasn't fully in charge. His uncle, his father, there was a lot of interference in the government. The Samajwadi Party itself, its entire reputation was not particularly good with women. Particularly Mayawati's vote definitely was geared to improving safety for women, particularly the poorer women. And I think she gained a lot out of that. And so when the BJP came in 2017 and fresh off Narendra Modi's huge success, at that time nobody thought that Yogi Adityanath would be chief minister. Certainly none of us could predict that. But there was no question that women felt that it was time for a change. That, it was too chaotic under Akhilesh. Now, the Samajwadi Party has changed a lot. Its image amongst women, among Dalits, amongst lower OBCs have definitely improved in recent years. Partly because, of course, it's in the opposition. It's much easier to improve your image. Whereas the image of an incumbent government, you always have problems. You always have incidents where you haven't taken this thing. And also, it is backed by some really Bahubali castes, like the Rajput Thakur caste. And there have been many incidents, as you well know, over these past, 10 years, when Yogi Adityanath has not been able to really keep. Overall, dacoities and everything have gone down. But as far as women's safety is concerned, I'm not very sure in rural areas where women feel all that safe. But the fact of the matter is that Akhilesh Yadav definitely is making a huge effort in giving his party a different image.
Okay. Okay. Sunita, Priyanka Gandhi last time ran the campaign Ladki Hoon, Lad Sakti Hoon. It flopped very badly. The Congress vote share came down to 2 digits. So is my question to you, ma'am, is do political parties fail to make a difference that political empowerment is one thing, but women at large in general life, in the sociologically what you describe as a sense of ordinariness, would prefer financial independence, better social status and safe streets, and they would choose them over fighting elections?
Okay. Karthik, when Priyanka had launched this Main Ladki Hoon, Lad Sakti Hoon, and she had also experimented with tickets to some women outside the political domain, it didn't work because the party was not in a good shape. They don't have cadres to convert even the crowds into votes and all that. This has been said again and again. I somehow feel that the people had seen Mayawati, they saw Akhilesh Yadav's rule, 2014 Modi came, and then after that, few things that worked for BJP was definitely, one was a women's safety issue, second was, because you remember how they talked about love jihad and all that stuff, a campaign, a narrative was built, the slogans were raised ki jisme Samajwadi Party ka jhanda wahan baitha gunda, something like that. So there was a narrative built around that the women are not safe in a Samajwadi Party dispensation. Then second was temple. We can't, today whether temple is such a big issue, I don't know after temple theft issue, because everybody is talking about it. Women are also hurt by it. Whether they will vote for that issue or not, that's also there. And then we should not forget the toilets, the houses, the ration that was given to them. All that was distributed to poor women. And it really meant 5 kg of food grains or 10 kg of food grains. So even those doles had played a very important role. Now, right now, you do see Akhilesh Yadav, fighting on the same pitch. He did 1090, which right now the Japanese delegation, they visited that. It was started by him. 500 rupees pension they were already giving, which they're going to increase it now. And he's also talking about cycle distribution, laptops, all, which they had done. So not to trust him only because something you have got in your hand, which Yogi will be able to do, will not be an enough reason for the young crowd, which is looking at their brighter future.
Okay.
Maybe 50 plus, maybe they will talk about the caste. They will still think about Sanatan.
Let me be the devil's advocate here then. Let me be the devil's advocate here and let me take that question first to Dr. Verma and then to Amitabh. And I'll say, is it because the absence of Akhilesh Yadav's idea of governance? When Modi was doing things in Gujarat, governance model was pushed. Even in Karnataka, the beauty of the Congress success lies in its governance model. That's what even Revanth Reddy has done. He is pushing his own governance model. So is it because of that? And secondly, I'll intertwine it with other issue. Any person living in UP or is from UP like me would understand that maybe and I'll tie it with that argument of safe street. Safe street, very important for women. That the thanas in Uttar Pradesh were divided into spheres of political interests. And Yogi, and I disagree with his bulldozer politics and bulldozer idiom, and I say this on record, has worked as sort of his idea of governance that if something will happen, I will take a very harsh action, even if it is crossing the lines of constitutionality and rule as encoded in our constitution. Dr. Verma.
Karthikeya, you have raised a very important question, and I think that talking about the Akhilesh, as you specifically mentioned, I think there is a disconnect between the governance model and the ideological orientation. That is one very important thing. When you talk of the ideology of socialism, there was hardly any socialism visible in the policies pursued by the government. And there was a terrible disconnect, number one. Number two, the kind of germination of Samajwadi Party was based on anti-Congressism. And when Akhilesh tried to, hobnob with the Congress Party, the entire ideological orientation of the Samajwadi Party collapsed because the entire Samajwadi Party was based on the anti-Congressism, starting from Dr. Lohia. So, and he has been experimenting, and he doesn't know what experiment will work. And as you say, sometimes he is with Mayawati, sometimes he is with Congress, sometimes with his smaller political parties. So he is not very clear about his own ideological orientations and how to go about in the future. So this lack of ideological clarity and the desperation to come to power by aligning with any other ideological political formation, even if it is in contradiction to the ideology of the Samajwadi Party, had set a red signal to the people that this political party is not very clear about. And number two, that the socialist orientation were not reflected either in the behavior of the people who were in the Samajwadi Party, be they MLAs or whatever ministers. So you find that the kind of politics Lohia, propagated, the kind of thing Lohia wanted, there should be no caste, abolition of caste, he held Ramayan Milas, but there was these people who were looking after as if they're completely negating the politics of Lohia, and that all confused the people about the Samajwadi Party. So, as you very rightly said, there is some kind of I think there was a disconnect between the ideological moorings of the Samajwad and the functioning of the Samajwadi Party so far as the governance is concerned.
Okay, Amitabh, in last 25 years, though Mayawati has abdicated her, terrain, she does not fight, and obviously, in a way she ends up helping Bharatiya Janata Party. But the only way cadre-based parties are challenged forcefully, beautifully, is through volunteer-based network. The first example was Aam Aadmi Party, took Congress by surprise in Delhi, and the second is Vijay in Tamil Nadu. Complete volunteer-based network, idea being circulated through various messaging application or through net, or you can say digital economy. But my question is, and I'll give little benefit of doubt to Akhilesh here, Akhilesh has tried Muslim plus Yadav plus and it failed. He tried MY plus. Do you think that with the outreach he is trying to make, and it was not only Dimple Yadav, there were other women MPs also. He's trying to soften the image. He's just trying to soften the image, and with purpose. There were a lot of women MPs. I noticed it. They could have been all men, but there were a lot of women there. Could this work for him at the back of Gen Z, or it's too close to the elections where consolidations are already taking place? And Mayawati will, as always, end up helping BJP.
No, essentially, if you see this pattern of the women voting in larger numbers for the BJP was actually reversed in the 2024 Lok Sabha elections, wherein the Samajwadi Party alliance had a 3 to 5% lead over the BJP-led alliance in terms of women vote share. Now, how did that happen? Or major chunk of that is coming from the non-Jata and the lower OBCs women voters, where the Samvidhan Khatre Mein Hai narrative clearly worked.
Yes.
And the Samvidhan Khatre Mein Hai narrative also was reached booth level primarily because of a volunteer network. And I would not call it a volunteer network, but I would call them content creators who were anti-BJP in terms of running their YouTube or Instagram channels. So now the question is whether it is too late. I mean, still 6 to 7 months is remaining. Akhilesh Yadav realizes that just like Bihar, where the Jungle Raj label has been very, very damaging for the RJD, this law and order, and it's a matter of perception. I mean, perception is the new reality in a way, correct? So this law and order aspect has been damaging Samajwadi Party to gain women vote share or support from women, and without the support of women who are turning up in largest numbers and are now actually deciding or playing an anchor role in the voting of their families, it is going to be very, very difficult. And that's why he's trying to woo this segment and also presenting a softer side from his party in terms of putting his wife ahead and other younger leaders And also, in terms of caste combinations, we've seen in 2024 that more tickets were given to non-Yadav OBCs, and this MY combination was given lesser tickets, again to soften this MY, let's say this aggressive posturing or aggressive perception was softened in this aspect.
Mr. Bose, you wanted to come in. It's also because it's also because I remember covering elections couple of years ago, and the difference between the BSP headquarter and Samajwadi headquarter was pretty much visible. Far more organized when it came to BSP. You could walk in, but if you go inside, if Netaji was inside, or if Akhilesh plus Netaji was inside, then I think you would end up with 20% of your equipment as dead.
No, absolutely. But I'm just a brief point about Mayawati and the BSP. They have lost really all momentum. And as far as the young Dalit voter, and I keep in touch with a lot of these Dalit activists in Uttar Pradesh, and what they tell me is that they've completely lost faith in Benji. It is basically the older voter who once dreamt that Dalits were ruling Uttar Pradesh, who are still clinging on, but even that is going. So that is going to be a very crucial vote. And although he has not featured at all in this entire survey, I don't rule out Chandrasekhar Azad because he's a very dynamic fellow. He's going all around, so don't rule out the amount of vote he takes away. Mayawati's vote percentage dropped below 10. It's only to 9% in the recent Lok Sabha polls in 2024. I won't be surprised if it still remains at single figures, even drops more. Now, this vote, where will it go? Now, it's a very important thing, and it depends. I know we are drifting a little bit from the topic of women, but what I'm trying to say that Dalit women owe a lot to Mayawati, but no longer really look up to her the way they did earlier. She is yesterday's girl. She is yesterday's politician. So are many of these people. Many of these people are yesterday's. What you are going to see, and particularly after this Cockroach Janata Party protests and bread and butter issues becoming important, caste, class, and all these things, the way we used to judge elections earlier may become a little outdated. So it's too early to say how it's going to play out, and we will have some idea before the Uttar Pradesh elections come to see some other elections which will also come. So, but by the time Uttar Pradesh elections come, I think it will be a very, very interesting situation to see how the school Theek Karo thing, because this is having an impact. This is having an impact because suddenly how the state of your schools have become important. These were never discussed in the election. So I think these things are going to catch on. It's amazing how the time comes. We always hoped and prayed. Your father was such a good friend. You always felt, when will this bread and butter issues come? I'm very glad that finally, it doesn't matter which party takes it up, but the whole thing is that at least we will be going beyond what really matters to people.
Absolutely. I've really run short of time. I really don't know what to say. वो हिंदी में कहते हैं ना कि सबाल्टर्न हिंदुत्व कमंडल ने काफ़ी सबस्यूम कर लिया था मंडल को. थोड़ा सा कमंडल से मंडल निकला था 2024 में. I don't know what will be playing in 2027, with 6 months from now. But the elections will definitely become interesting. Thank you. Thank you all of you for joining me in this conversation. But to my viewers, please don't go away because I'm going to analyze this unique exercise that has taken place in Egypt, where Chinese J-16s actually, they simulated air combat with Rafales, and Rafales are the backbone of the Indian Air Force. What does it mean for us? And Dr. Ashwinder Singh Bahal, Air Commodore, is going to decode it for us.
लास्ट टाइम कश्मीर गई थी ना, वहाँ खाया शहद, पर उसके लिए कश्मीर जाना पड़ेगा. अरे कश्मीर क्यों जाना, कश्मीर ही यहाँ आ गया।
सुंदर वादियों में महकती खुशबू और रंग बिरंगे फूल, इनमें से शहद निकाल कर जमा किया जाता है